Um, right now, I'm watching the news like I think all of you, if you're following me, about Charlie Kirk, and I decided to go live. I was just recorded and I'm in shock. I'm just going to share the screen because I just feel if anyone else is like me, I don't even.
Turning point events with Charlie. You don't worry about getting shot. You worry about the great crowds who might make parking difficult. That's the biggest worry you normally have. And that's what's real. That's what's normal. But we're crossing right now into a new reality.
Okay. So look, you have of late been something of a hybrid, not just a journalist, not just a commentator. You've appeared at some events, right? Charlie was much more of an activist than he was a commentator. So he was a different thing. But he was in service of his vision of making the country better. And he was already an historical figure. What troubles me is what you're saying, which is if the price to be paid for being on the national town square is you can be killed, that's chilling. But if he does not make it, and again, I'm just being honest with folks, my inbox is not good. If he doesn't make it, we've lost not just an incredibly special person and a dad and a husband, but we've lost someone who was determined to change America. So it's not just you pay a price as a person for being on the national town square and trying to change things. If this goes the way it may, someone has tried to take away, let's put it that way, someone has tried to take away someone who was really fighting every day to change America for his kids to have a better future as he saw America.
I was resisting watching the video, and I just saw the video, and I don't know how he would survive that shot. I don't. I don't know how he survives it.
That's chilling to me. That's chilling to me. I think the left will chronicle his more hyperbolic and inflammatory statements. And I think I think that is it comparable to the if he does die to the death of Martin Luther King, the assassination of Martin Luther King? I think there's parallels there because
I think there are parallels too.
Charlie was a visionary for his vision of America, and screw people who said he was in it for money or in it for fame or in it to own the libs. He was in it because he believed passionately about how to change this country to make life better for his kids.
Have you guys seen the video I saw?
Yeah, I've seen it. I find it hard to believe it's fake because I know the sick mind that would not only fake that, but fake it instantly. So, yeah.
If that video is real, there's no way he can survive this.
No. He's an extraordinary guy, but no.
The shooter shot him from 200 yards away. A spokesperson for Utah Valley University, this is tweeted out by Michael Levinson. Eleanor Trainer said that Charlie was struck by a suspect who had fired from the Losi Center, a building about 200 yards away. The suspect had been taken into custody, was not a student. Again, we don't know if it was this man. Let's play the video one more time of the man who is in custody, asserting his rights to remain silent.
That's the right to remain silent.
the moment that Trump won, we all had our experiences, like some of us were together, and it was extraordinary for everybody who wanted Trump to win, but it was really extraordinary for Charlie, who had left nothing on the field, Rich, in trying to get Trump over the line. And the youth vote did turn out for a Republican. It just, we'd never seen the margins when it comes to Republican presidential candidates like we saw in 2024 with Trump. And it was in large part thanks to Charlie Kirk. And he came on the show a couple days after, and we celebrated together, and we talked about that moment when, the networks call it, and it's real. And we played this soundbite of what happened on Charlie's show. Charlie, who had been all over the nation on every college campus, just fighting and fighting and fighting to get every last vote, handing out MAGA hats, and his reaction when Trump won. And here it is.
Let's go.
There it is.
Everybody should remember this moment. Look, I'm gonna echo Charlie from earlier. Remember where you were when this happened. Remember where you were when you realized that the Uniparty and all of these, just the establishment, you said it's time to actually participate. And look what you guys have done.
And if anyone deserves to get tears in his eyes, it's Charlie. I think we all agree.
I think Erica was chopping some onions or something in the break room.
No one has worked harder than Charlie for this.
We gotta hear some words here from you, Charlie. You put all this together, my man. Let's hear it.
I am just humbled by God.
It's all good. It's all good.
It just says everything. That's Charlie Kirk in a nutshell. Thanking God, smiling, hands on his face, like the emotion, right? He is an emotional guy in a great way, in a way that shows his fire, his passion. And it's rare you see that kind of emotionality coupled with that level of just being able to articulate your views in the moment passionately and soundly and compellingly.
Yeah, again, if he had just seen this opening and had advocated for Trump trying to exploit it, that'd be pretty notable, right? That'd be a significant insight. But he didn't just see it. He helped open it up himself with his organization, with his appearances, and then helped Trump run through that opening. So it was a massive contribution. And again, perspective 10 years ago, Republican candidates made inroads among the youth vote. Oh, okay, Paul Ryan has kind of softened our socially conservative message and appealed to young people that way. No, this was totally the opposite of what conventional wisdom said for a very long time was the way to appeal to young people. So it's just a massive contribution. But I just fear again, Megan, that the clips you watch of this horrific shooting, one moment we're in one world, he's sitting there, he's taking questions, he's answering them. There's a crowd. They might agree, they might disagree. They're there, it looked like a little incline, like a hillside. This is how democracy started in Athens. Literally, you sit on a hillside and you argue things out. That's the way it's supposed to work, right? This is a thread that runs through Western civilization for millennia. And then the next moment, a shot, he's slouched behind that chair and people are running in fear. And I fear that we're now in the running in fear world. And if nothing else happens, if there are no repercussions from this, if there's no retaliation, if there's no copycat, it still means every commentator with some significant prominence has to do events with security like a principal, like a vice president or like a cabinet official, the mags and the security lines and the whole thing, because we talked about this with the Charlotte killing, because now there's that whisper of fear that in a free society, and a society true to our ideals, no one should have. It should never enter your mind that you can be out there openly, fiercely, making your case, and you have to worry about a hideous act of violence being perpetrated against you. But now everyone has to think about it.
Mark, I can't help but think as I see these videos online about the parallels between what just happened to Charlie and what happened in Charlotte. Like the video of that poor Ukrainian refugee after this random stranger stabs her in the neck and she's confused and she goes down, she crumbles down to the floor. And then you see just a ton of blood spill out on the subway floor in bright red, just copious amounts. Charlie got shot, it looked to me, in the same spot. It looked like it was on that same, it was the left side of his neck. And the blood that poured out in that video, I will never forget as long as I live. And I hope I never have to see it again. And I don't recommend people look it up. And it's the same thing in a way, in that it's not exactly a random act of violence, but it's a senseless act of violence that takes someone so young and promising. And in the case of Charlie Kirk, a truly important national figure, entirely of his own making, 31 years old, no formal education, no connections to anyone, nothing to give him a head start, just pure tenacity and willingness to work hard and a God-given ability to communicate and express himself in a way that literally drew the attention of millions. I mean, I'm worried about my kids. They love him. He's so important to young voters, yes, but young kids, high schoolers. You know, my middle schooler knows who Charlie Kirk is and totally admires him. My kids were dying to go with me to a Turning Point event. You know, they're a little young, but we were definitely going to do it. They looked up to him. He's a hero to so many genuinely young kids. I mean, teenagers. This is going to have such an effect on so many people from 80 years old to our 80-year-old president on down.
Yeah, you'll recall that Gavin Newsom said at the beginning of his interview with Charlie, Gavin Newsom said, "My son's all excited that I'm interviewing." He's an historical figure already for the reasons you said. But think about how many years he has left. Think all the opportunities he has to help continue to change the world. And I've joked with him before that he's just young enough now for teenagers to think he's cool. But what would like a 50-year-old Charlie Kirk be like? Would he continue to appeal to young kids the way he has? But no one's like him. There's no one like him in either party. And I did a long interview with him about that topic. And he's a modest guy, so he didn't really want to cooperate, but I dragged him into it. And we talked about how there's no one like him. There's no one like him, not just in the Democratic Party. There's no one else like him in the Republican Party in his capacity to be multidisciplinary, to do content, to travel, to write, to organize, and to work in coalition with the President of the United States. There's also the fact that although he was so mature, we all, he regularly called, an old person in a young person's body. In my interview with him yesterday, we talked about South Park, which has just done a send up of Charlie. And I wondered whether it'd be okay to play for him. I didn't want to piss him off if he didn't like it, but he wasn't that big a South Park fan, but he thought it was funny. He thought it was hilarious. He loved the recognition of it. And this is someone who understood politics and campaigns and the minutia of those things, but he understood the culture as well as anyone I know. He understood the culture of America, and he continues to be a leading figure. Regardless of age, he understands culture, and that's so powerful, and wise beyond his years in understanding American culture. He must live. I'll say this: he must live. He must live, because his loss would hit too many people too hard. I'll just say one more thing. You talked about the pictures from Charlotte. It's psychologists and others, philosophers have studied this for years. Is the impact of upsetting visual images on all of us. I've just been so taken in the last 48 hours by how people have reacted to that video from the light rail. These videos of Charlie, it's going to have a monumental impact on people. It's going to have a monumental impact, incalculable.
Kids are seeing it right now.
But they're going to be linked. Yeah, but they're going to be, those two images are going to be linked in history.
Yeah. I don't, in the early moments of a shooting like this, an event like this, information is constantly circulated that is bad, and we've all been burned by it. We don't have any official word on how Charlie is doing. I will say, for whatever it's worth, Glenn Beck just tweeted out that he's getting word Charlie's been stabilized, and says he prays it's true. I do not know whether that is true. If it's true, it is a miracle. As Glenn writes in his tweet, if it's true, it's a second miracle. first Trump, and then God willing, Charlie. I don't know.
May
You see,
I say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
yeah, please go ahead, Mark.
Sorry. I've twice now talked about him in the past tense, and I pray and look forward to the day when I can joke with him about that. I'm sorry I've done it.
Yeah. We're hoping you have that moment. I mean, he was brought to the emergency center or to the hospital. I don't know how close it was. Utah, they definitely have some level 1 trauma centers in Utah. I know this from having skied out in the area. So there's a chance, there's a chance with security right there and being on a university campus with potentially, ambulances not too far away or emergency kits not too far away. There's a chance. I don't know. We just don't have the answers. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We're praying for him. That's what we can do right now, Rich. We can pray for him. There was an eyewitness to it. His name is Justin Hickens. He spoke with NBC News. He says he was 20 yards away. He also witnessed the arrest of the suspect. We're going to take a look at that testimonial here.
I was about 20 yards away on Charlie's left. I had gotten there probably just a few minutes before noon. There was thousands of people there. Unfortunately, there was no metal detectors. There was security by Charlie, but anybody could have shown up with whatever, unfortunately. And I happened to kind of maneuver my way down close on the side. And the first interaction probably took about 10 minutes. It was a religious-related exchange. And then there was someone who stepped up, ironically, coincidentally, who asked a question about mass shootings. And about 60 to 90 seconds in, we heard a big loud shot. I saw a bunch of blood come out of Charlie. I saw his body kind of kick back and go limp, and everybody dropped to the ground. And luckily, there were no other bullets sprayed into the crowd because nobody was really able to go anywhere. It was just like a big, open pavilion, amphitheater, outdoor venue. And, lots of screaming, lots of yelling, lots of bodies on top of each other. And after a couple minutes, people got up and started kind of running, getting out of there. There were some gates, some barriers that had been pushed aside and knocked over, and people were able to move. And I started to move quickly, and then kind of realized that I said, I think we're okay. And I kind of stopped walking away, and I kind of turned around, and all of a sudden I saw officers walking with this very elderly gentleman with white hair, and they had him arrested, had him on his knees. He was screaming about, his rights and all that stuff. And they cuffed him and put him away. And about 20, 30 other people just said, yeah, that's the guy. That was the shooter. And people had said that they had seen him there early. He got to the event really early, was kind of walking around, talking to a lot of people, just this elderly gentleman. But that's all I got.
There was a lot of information in there. I think he said that one of the things they discussed was a mass shooting at the top at the event. I do want to update that the Associated Press is reporting that Charlie's in critical condition at a hospital after being shot at Utah Valley University. Pray God that's true. Pray God he has not died and that he's in critical condition and comes out of critical condition. The thing is, Rich, one thing you can say about Charlie is he's tough. He's as tough as they come. He's young. He's healthy. He's on the road all the time. He if anybody has a chance, it's Charlie. He's strong. He's strong in character, in will, in his mental fortitude, and he's physically strong too. And so maybe there is a chance. Maybe he does come out of this. Yeah.
Well, we'll hope and keep praying. I mean, prayer is the most powerful tool we have. I was just struck in that clip, Megan. Again, thousands of people on a Wednesday afternoon at Utah Valley University. It's amazing, and everyone on either side should be glad it's happening, right? That's civic engagement, right? That's civic dialogue, whatever euphemistic kind of goo-goo phrase you want to use for it, but it's good, right? It's a profoundly good thing. And then also struck in the same vein, 10 minutes on the first question and answer. What is that? Right? That's give and take. That's argument. That's persuasion. it's how it's supposed to happen. So it's just, again, there are almost no words. It's just devastating in every respect.
Rich, we're getting together too frequently to talk about people we care about in the public eye getting shot. This has got to stop.
I think just, Mark was making comparison, the late 60s. In today's terms, what would be more politically resonant assassination attempt? Trump, Vance, a couple top cabinet officials. I'm not sure there would be another one that would have the sort of political resonance this act does.
Yeah. I'll let you go. Thank you so much, Rich. Always appreciate you coming on. You're such a good friend of the show. Lots of love. We'll round back up when we have more news. We have Victor Davis Hanson coming on, and we have Glenn Beck here too. Both friends of Charlie and friends of the show. And this is just, everyone's feeling what we're feeling. Just absolute devastation at this news as we know it. Charlie Kirk has been shot in the neck at an event on a university campus in Utah, taken away to a hospital. The AP is reporting he's listed in critical condition, which is something because we worried that he was dead on the spot. If you take a look at the videos, it certainly looks like that could have been an outcome, but it's better. It's better than that, at least. Glenn, start with you. Thank you for being here. I just read your tweet to the audience. Are you hearing that from people who are in a position to know that Charlie is in, that he's alive and that he's in critical?
I am. Spoke to somebody in a position who knows, who said he has a pulse. So that's good news. Good news. I have to tell you, Nate, my daughter was at the tent. She's 19 years old.
Oh, God.
And she's on her way home now. But this is, I know you can relate to this. I have two friends now that have been that people have tried to assassinate. We don't live in those kinds of times. You have to go back to the 60s to live in those kinds of times. And quite honestly, I am, my first reaction to this, besides the profound sadness for Charlie and his family, is strangely forgiveness. And I don't want to. I am so angry. And, when I saw the guy who apparently did it, my first thought was, you effing hippies. You have been destroying this country for so many years, and you still are hanging on and trying to control everything. And I am so angry at those people, if that is the shooter indeed. But we have got to get serious about the significant enemies that are within our country. And
we need information about this man, and we need it immediately. And we'll get it with this FBI, Victor. Thank you too for being here. We'll get it with this FBI. Victor Davis Hanson.
Yes.
Your thoughts on this?
I don't want to be partisan, but when you look at the Scalise shootings and the two attempts on Donald Trump and Luigi Mangione, you get the idea that the left feels that they're so morally superior and intellectually superior that almost any means necessary, and especially the reaction to these things. When Trump was almost killed, you looked at the social media, and when the Luigi Mangione was canonized after he killed a man who had worked his way up from the middle class to be a CEO. So I think it doesn't do any good to just say this is violence and we've got to just stop the violence. This is coming from one particular side who's justified it because they think that Trump and his supporters represent an existential evil. And then if you keep telling everybody that Trump is a fascist and he is a Nazi, then they feel that they're going to be heroic. I think we saw that with a second assassination attempt on Trump. The other thing is, Megan, very quickly, it marks kind of, we crossed the Rubicon, because it was sort of known that journalists or people who were in opinion journalism on both sides were exempt. And we didn't, I know all of us, you probably more than I, but if you go to an airport, 1 out of 20 people wants to confront you. But there wasn't anybody really it's not common in the United States to go after journalists. That's what Charlie was. He wasn't just an activist, he was a journalist. And he wrote, and he was very good at it. But the idea that now you go after the people who deliver information, that's kind of a new thing that they have. And I just know in the last 3 months, I live out in kind of a rural area. I've been swatted where sheriffs that armed said there was an intruder. There wasn't. They came armed to my door. I've had $90,000 drained out of all my bank accounts by hackers. And I think we're reaching a level now with the vituperation. And that we saw that with the shooting on the rail. I mean, the killing of our young immigrant. Yes. And when you start to collate all the things that people have said, white, whether it's on The View or Joy Reid or all of those crazy people, that language of deprecation and vituperation, it filters down. And they're the ones that have always told us that words matter. It's everywhere. I'm believe it or not, I'm reviewing right now a book on classics, and the professor who's on the left has used the word whiteness and white in a book not concerned with race 258 times in a 148-page book, I count them, all about anger and hatred. And until we...
Quickly, I wanted to say that there is an AI video of Charlie Kirk that's being circulated. It's one that I saw. That is AI. It is not. And I'm reading from Marina Edvin. There's an AI altered video circulating showing a close-up of a bullet into Charlie Kirk's neck. The shooting of Charlie Kirk is real. His injury is real. The long-range video of the shooting is real, but the close-up video that just started circulating is AI. Don't believe it. That isn't real. So if you've seen that video that I saw, that is not real. Again, that's not real.
Apparently is going not only to be exempt, but it's going to be canonized, and they're going to be heroic. And I think I don't want to make any macabre predictions, but I bet you, and I haven't looked at the news, there will be people immediately that will cheer this on social media.
Oh, there already has been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There already
Wait, I know that, Victor, you got to run, but do you have time for me to just ask you before you go, what do you expect the reaction is going to be? I mean, what's going to happen next?
Well, I think when you ask that, it's going to become the two sources of reaction will be obviously from political officials and from the media. And the media knows that you don't want to have a counter reaction. So I would expect all of the officials, left and right, and all of the major journalists left and right will condemn this, if not for the right reason of morality, then for their own self-interest, because you don't want to get into a spiral. But I have been listening to stuff that's been said on podcasts, on major TV shows, that I cannot believe. It's just pure racial hatred, ethnic hatred. And the targets more than ever are the so-called bogeyman of the white male MAGA right-wing fascist. And that's got to stop. When you have that vocabulary of disparagement from Joe Biden, that they were garbage, that they were chumps, that were dregs, and from Hillary, deplorable or irredeemable, Klinger, it's just too much finally. And it's all been predicated on the idea, well, this is a privileged group and they have a special category. You can say whatever you want. Conservatives, all that's over with. I mean, this is the first time in my memory that a major journalistic figure has been targeted for assassination that I can think of. And let's hope it doesn't start something. But this is really new. This happens in South America. It happens in Mexico. It even happens as we saw with Salman Rushdie in Europe. But it has not happened here yet. And I'm afraid that this is something the left, in their desperation, if this person turns out to be that way, has embarked on. It's time, I think, for everybody to cool it. Yeah, cool the left.
The latest from the New York Times. Videos online showed this older man being detained by police officers. And therefore, I don't know at this hour whether the person who shot Charlie Kirk is in custody or not. I don't know. What? Say again, Glenn?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just telling my wife because my children are there. They don't know they have a suspect in custody. So
VDH, I know you got to run. Thank you for making the time for us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan.
That white guy with the balding head is not the shooter, according to the New York Times, citing Scott Trotter, a university spokesman. But the university had earlier said a suspect was in custody, not just a person. So we don't know whether they were speaking of this man who they've now determined is not the shooter. So we have no fucking clue whether the shooter is in custody or not. And we have no idea how Charlie is. All we know is he's been shot and that it was a brutal shot to the neck that we saw too much of.
Megan, when I was talking today about Charlotte, on the video, you can hear the killer say, I guess I killed that white woman or whatever it was, that white girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in Washington, D.C. Just a couple months ago, and my wife and I were walking down the street, and there was this big black guy on a bike, and he kept circling us, and he kept pointing right directly at me and looking me in the eyes and said, "Today's the day I'm going to kill me a white man. Oh, I'm going to kill me a white man today." And he finally he saw my security, and then he went away. We are not addressing the key issues here, and the media is making everything worse. We really are in a place where we will not get our republic back if the administration doesn't act forcefully, but constitutionally, and if we lose our heads. I mean, people like you, Megan, are so important because people are going to look to us on how we react to this. And I don't know how to react. There's no lesson on this one. I don't know how to react to this. My friends are being shot. My family is in danger. I mean, I don't know how to react to this other than, I know that God is a God of miracles. If Charlie is alive, that's a miracle. If you saw the video, there is no way he should be alive. There's no way he should be alive. And if he's alive, that is an absolute miracle. And we have to be worthy of those miracles because something evil is happening, but something glorious is also going to come out of this.
You can't help but look at it in our position and say, he does to a large extent what we do. We're all largely in the same business. We comment on the news. We try to help people understand the news. And yes, now in at least my new iteration and the one you've been at for a long time too, we also try to shape opinion around the news, the issues that are important to us, and try to encourage people to maintain their sanity and react sanely to a news cycle that can drive you mad. I've heard you do it many times. I've done it. Charlie, this week, what has Charlie been doing? Charlie has been speaking truth about what happened in Charlotte. He's been very frank, as he always is, even when the chips are down. He says the hard thing. And he called out the racial issue in the stabbing in Charlotte, North Carolina. And because he heard what we heard, which was the black assailant walked up and down the train afterward and appeared to say, someone said, and it's very clear to me, it was him. We haven't had the forensic evaluation from cops yet, said, I got that white girl. I got that white girl. And Charlie.
There is no penalty for this. There's no penalty for this. Look at when you impose penalties in Washington, D.C., look how fast crime goes away. There's no penalty for saying these things, encouraging these things, or doing these things. The press and the academia and the media has taken very sick and vulnerable people, the transgender community, and whipped them up into a frenzy where the Nazis are going to come and round you up. What do you expect people to do? What do you expect them to do? So now the shootings are happening. We've had 5 shootings. I wonder if it was a coincidence that the question that was being asked of Charlie was the LGBTQ, the trans shooters that have happened, bang. I'm wondering if that's a coincidence or not. I'm hoping that it is. But nobody will even talk about it. Nobody will talk about there is serious mental illness on our streets. And a lot of it is coming from the media and the politicians. They are pushing people who are mentally ill into very dangerous situations. And nobody says anything about it. I mean, I tell you, Donald Trump has his work cut out for him. JD Vance, pray for those.
Let me just finish about, so Charlie this week was making the point he was making about that stabbing. Totally valid point, totally fair point, and a brave point to make publicly, because of course, you're going to get blowback. And what happened? Blowback happened. Van Jones went on CNN that night and attacked Charlie and suggested he was somehow racist for introducing that question into it. Meanwhile, the stabber, the accused murderer, is someone we can hear on tape. It's very clearly coming from that train, and he's the guy who's front and center. We've looked at it 25 times. And while you cannot see his mouth moving, his face is not on camera, it seems very clear it's him. At a minimum, there is a prima facie basis to say it appears to be him. That's a very comfortable place to be. If it turns out not to be, fine. But Charlie was not ahead of his skis and suggesting there's reason to believe there's a racial motive here, or at least that race played a role. And this is what happened. This is how Van Jones responded on CNN.
We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering. It's wrong. Then he says that if something like that had happened the other way, there would be sweeping changes imposed on society. Where is the George Floyd Policing Act? It didn't pass. You mentioned the thing about cashless bail. I think this is a big challenge that we have. Would you have felt better if there had been cash bail and the mom had come and put down $1,000 to let him out? It's not about cashless bail or no cashless bail. It's about the fact that we don't know how to deal with people who are hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people.
Look, I'm not blaming this on Van Jones. I'm just trying to show what Charlie was up against in his very brave and very frank social commentary, Glenn.
And Van is right. There's no love lost between me and Van Jones. But Van is right.
I know the history.
Hurt people hurt people. He's right on that. But there is a group of people that are preying on hurt people and encouraging them to do unspeakable things. And when they do, they encourage them by either their silence or lionizing these people. This is not going to stop until Americans on both sides stand up and say, enough, this is not acceptable in our society. It is not acceptable. But I know people I counted as reasonable people who actually celebrated when Trump was shot. And if they know who Charlie Kirk is, they'd be celebrating today. That's unacceptable. If this would have happened to the women on The View, I wouldn't be celebrating. I would be warning. I'd be warning. This is dangerous. What are we doing? Stop it.
Never. And not only that, but if I've been at these events with you, if you and I actually bumped into Whoopi or Joy at some event and we were introduced and we were drinking it, whatever, sitting there, we'd be kind and they'd probably be mildly kind back to us. Like there's an understanding mildly. We wouldn't be, insincere, but we wouldn't walk in there like, I hate that person and I want bad things to happen to that person.
Absolutely. They feel they are entitled to say that.
We would never do that. We would never. I think the right understands that you're a player on the field. And then when you remove yourself from the field, there's a level of civility that's required in order for our fucking society to function. And it's just, I want to update with this because this just came in. This is news from the university. We can confirm Mr. Kirk was shot. We do not know his condition. The suspect is not in custody. Police are still investigating. Campus is closed for the rest of the day, said the university spokesperson, Scott Trotter. Is your daughter out of there, Glenn? Oh. Is she safe? Yes, he's nodding his head. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's another level of worry. And obviously the extra level of worry is she's Glenn Beck's daughter. And you have to worry about that. I understand that acutely myself. It makes us targets and it makes our kids targets. And I really hope Charlie's wife and his 2 children have security on them right now because the level of threat is higher.
Yeah. So, that's
you are for coming on to talk about this. Well, you have your own worries about your own family, Glenn. It's so on brand for you. You're also so brave and you've been under it yourself. I've seen when we were at Fox News, you came to see me one time. We had a chat and you had 6 bodyguards around you. It was insane. The level of threat that you were under, again, just for talking about the news.
They're going to pick, if this isn't stopped, they're going to pick people off one by one. They did it to us first, Megan, by picking us off, by trying to pick off our sponsors and trying to isolate us. And thank God for the internet. We could go to the internet and we could be heard. We didn't need their big network systems anymore. We chartered our own course, but they tried to destroy us that way first, financially. And then they smeared us and tried to end us by just saying horrible, awful things. And now that doesn't work, they're just going to pick people off one by one. We have to get serious about the Soroses of the world, the people who fund these radical groups. We have to get serious about our university campuses. They are hellholes. There is real evil that is happening, and people are turning a blind eye, and too many in Washington are just thinking this is business as usual. This is not business as usual. The republic is at stake. And I'm sorry, I do not want and I do not like extra constitutional powers. I do not want any of those. But every single tool at our disposal that is constitutional should be employed. And people who are breaking the law, people who are trying to overthrow, people who are trying to influence, to overthrow, or to get people to kill, they must pay a price by law. Not from us, not through violence. They must be arrested and stopped. George Soros, at the very least, his NGO should be banned from doing business in the United States. He's banned in several countries. I don't know why everybody else knows that he's a threat. We know he's a threat, but we'll do nothing about his NGOs here. We'll just let them operate. We'll let all of these NGOs take all of this money and infect our DAs, our district attorneys, our attorney generals that we'll just let them go in and undercover at night. Just, did you see about the, what is it? The Ray, it's not the Ray. Oh, I had it in our show prep today. I talked about it. The first time I had ever heard of it. It's an old Soviet group that tried to do things during the Soviet era that is still around. And now they are in charge of 40 different prosecutors in our country.
Is that the Wren Group, W-R-E-N from, yeah.
Yes, the Wren Group.
Yep.
I'd never even heard, you know me, I am on top of all of these. I had never even heard of that one. There are so many of them now.
It was in City Journal yesterday.
Right, and what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We need to have our FBI and our DOJ go follow the money and take the people down that are funding all of this stuff. Because this is not just crazy people on the streets. This is coordinated. This is planned. This is a color revolution.
I can't help but feel that the left went crazy. They drove the country crazy on the trans thing and on the race thing, to name two. But those are two huge ones over the past 5-10 years. They took us to a truly deeply insane place. And it took the right half of the country to rise up over the course of years to say, no, this is immoral. It's evil what you're doing, dividing us by race and transing children, cutting off healthy body parts, sterilizing minors. This is fucking insane and evil. And Charlie's been a part of that counter messaging. And now Trump, who's the avatar of the whole counter message, Charlie, who's like a mini Trump. I mean, there's no daylight between them. Even when, people got mad at Trump over Epstein, Charlie had Trump's back. He's just like, there's no daylight between those two. He's a diehard fan, supporter, loyal to the core towards Trump.
But he's also,
as close as you can get to Trump.
You were right when you said he's also the future. Charlie is
more than because can I just say something? Yes, because I was thinking about this, and God bless the Trump children. I pray for them every night. We don't want anything to happen to them, but at least the Trump children have security. They have Secret Service. But and with all due respect to them and their important voice in the national conversation, they don't have the same role as Charlie. Charlie is more important politically. He's young and he's organized and he's powerful in his own right.
My security chief called me when this happened, and obviously our security, and I hope your security people have changed their position as of today. But he called me and I said, "Look at this video. Look at this is insane." And too many people in our position do not take security seriously. Finally, Ben Shapiro, I saw him. Finally, he's got serious security. But, I've seen Charlie engaged in things where I'm like, Charlie, where's your security? I've talked to him a million times. Where is your security, Charlie? You have to take these things seriously now. And I mean, I know I've called you at times, Megan, when you would flare it up, and I'm like, got security, you need anything,
Yep.
Nobody takes it seriously. I hope our side begins to take this seriously, because
Glenn, he had security. Of course, he had security. But as a news person or a commentator, or in Charlie's case, also a political organizer, you don't travel with presidential level security. You don't have sharpshooters clearing the buildings.
No, but you don't set things up. We shouldn't talk about this on the air, but trust me, I've been doing this for a long time. There are things that you do have to do, and it didn't appear to have those things happening there with Charlie. And Charlie is in this world now. If you are making a difference, you are going to be a target. Period. And it could come from any side. And I pray for Charlie. I pray for the Republic. But I also pray for people like you, Megan, and everybody else who is in this industry, that they please pray for protection and take the time to learn about protection and spend the money. Spend the money if you have to, but stay alive. You know, we've lost Dennis Prager, one of the greatest voices for God, I think, and to the youth with Prager University.
What do you mean we've lost Dennis? I mean, he had a terrible accident. He was hurt, but the last report I heard was he was doing a little better.
I shouldn't have said. Dennis, I pray he comes back and he is able to do the things that he can. I know he can write books, but you know, I don't know if.
You mean we lost him in the way we used to have him?
Thank you. We've lost him the way we've had him. And he is an important voice. If, God forbid, we lose Charlie, we can't afford to lose voices. And these people are serious about stopping voices. They're serious about it. If they have control of the government, they ban all of us. If they don't have control of the government, it's clear they just kill all of us. This is a very dangerous death cult we're dealing.
As I said, since he was a child, running around coming to conservative events.
John Solomon's reporting on Just the News that he's passed. Yes, is this what I'm hearing? Yes, can I get here?
I mean,
Yes. Wow, right here, we're having this moment, guys. Let's go around the horn, Gino. You were continue on the horrendous news that Charlie Kirk has passed.
Well, my prayers are for Erica, for her children, for his family. This is beyond devastating, Eric. I've known Charlie, as I said, since he was a child, running around coming to conservative events.
John Solomon's reporting on Just the News that he's passed. Yes, is this what I'm hearing? Yes, can I get here?
I mean,
Yes. Wow, right here, we're having this moment, guys. Let's go around the horn, Gino. You were continue on the horrendous news that Charlie Kirk has passed.
Well, my prayers are for Erica, for her children, for his family. This is beyond devastating, Eric. I've known Charlie, as I said, since he was a child, running around coming to conservative events.
He's dead.
John Solomon's reporting on Just the News that he's passed. Yes, is this what I'm hearing? Yes, can I get here? Yes. Wow, right here, we're having this moment, guys. Let's go around the horn, Gino. You were continue on the horrendous news.
Said it was like a water fountain coming of his neck. So that video is real. And I don't know how he survived. That.
I pray so hard for his family and for everybody at Turning Point too. I mean, he's their leader, you know, this young, upstart, strong, fun, funny, spicy guy who would go anywhere, would talk to anyone. You know, I said earlier, he and I have an event together in 2 weeks in Virginia. I was going to one of those campuses with him.
Me too.
I don't know. I feel like everyone over there must be so traumatized. And I worry for our children. You know, my kids love him. I know that they're praying that right now too. My husband, we have a family text chain. My husband texted saying, there's some upsetting news. Please come right home and do not look at the internet. And unfortunately, they're kids, they're teenagers, and they'd already seen it. It's these videos. It happened in a public place. There were millions of cameras. Everybody had their iPhone. It's what you do at a Charlie Kirk event. It's what Charlie wants you to do. He loves it when the clips go viral and his messages and his exchanges with people get as great a circulation as possible. And if this is the ultimate exchange that he had,
I found out from my daughter on the phone, and she's not the same. She'll never be the same.
Right. Right. This is a level of trauma for everyone involved, every eyewitness, everyone who loves Charlie. You're exactly right. It's like, he's a friend. Like for me, Glenn, I remember, you know, there was this weird period, and you can relate to this too, because I was on the outs with Trump, you know, or so people thought. You know, he and I had made up, but I definitely wasn't his favorite. And when I launched this show, it was that way. And for the first year or so, you know, MAGA definitely had some questions like, I don't know, I'm not sure, you know. And even I at that time didn't know. I knew I voted for Trump and I was like supporting him, but I still had questions, you know, I was still kind of licking my wounds. And
stuff that is not in custody. The president's statement in custody after the crocheting was not actually the shooter. So there have been videos circulating in social media. There's been some eyewitness testimony about the arrest. We had 2 reports there. Everything in the initial moments after these horrific tragedies needs to be taken with a grain of salt, because we fall on our neck hard way when it comes to breaking news. So you have to understand that information is fluid, and it appears, Marie, it's already changed.
Not surprising, because as you said, things like this often do change. I do find it very interesting that when they had him on the ground and they put him up, his one phrase that he murmured was, "I have the right to remain silent." Why would someone who's not in bubbles say that? I don't know. We'll have to wait to see what the experts say. But with regard to the shooting, I agree with what the other panel members have said.
Maybe you can't come in.
Everyone's in shock right now. I had my mic muted. I didn't even know.
Wait, did you hear anything?
Yeah. Charlie Kirk has passed away.
Wait, but is it confirmed? Because we heard it from a family friend maybe a half an hour ago, but no one was confirming yet.
It's confirmed.
It is.
It's confirmed. I'm looking I didn't want to say anything up. It was hopeful. It was very, very hopeful for a while.
I just, oh yeah, now I'm seeing it come in. Oh my God.
My daughters are calling me right now. I don't even know what to say.
I don't think there, you know, we just have to pray for his family at this point.
He has 2 little kids.
I know.
And you watch the video of what was happening before, and it looked, I've been to TPUSA events. It looked very similar. He was tossing out hats. I mean, I think he was in Utah. I think probably he felt pretty safe there on that campus.
Right.
I mean, you and I know, like, how many places do we go? We're surrounded by people threatening to kill us. Everywhere we go, you have to have a lot of security. And it's been such a long time. I've kind of blown it off. Like, I'm fine. I'm tough. I can handle it. Like,
Hold on. I think Tina has me taking a call from her.
Okay.
Tina? Hey. Okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't know what was going on. Yeah. Yep. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. Yep. Okay, bye. Okay, so I think we're gonna end this so that just everybody can grieve and pray for his family.
Yeah.
And we'll just leave it here.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing to do. There's just pray for his family, and that's
all right.
All right. I'm just going to end it. Everyone just pray for Charlie Kirk's family. That's all that I can say.